Hey everyone, Wild Trek here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the final production brackets of Foxbeam Lighting's Type Y brackets for Diode Dynamics SS3's. This is going to be a follow-up video to my last one. However, you don't need to watch the last one in order to get full use of this video, because this video is going to be more thorough. I'm going to start by taking off the bumper. We're going to take out the old brackets and we're going to compare them to these new ones, and then I'll walk you step by step on how to install your SS3s into your Crosstrek using these brackets. Now, these brackets are not exclusive to the Crosstrek. They will work on a Crosstrek Wilderness, Forester Wilderness, the new refreshed Ascent from Subaru, as well as VB WRXs and select Toyota models. So hopefully you guys will find this video helpful, and I'll give you some tips and tricks on during the install process of what makes things easier and how you can adjust them without removing your bumper. So stay tuned. That's all coming up on today's video. Alright, so I've taken out my SS3s and all the brackets and completely disassembled everything so I can show you how it is from scratch. But first, let's take a look at the brackets. So this one in my left hand is the prototype bracket, and this one in my right hand is going to be the final production bracket. They look very similar. If you look at the top, you'll notice that the flat facing side here is the one that's going to be facing forward, okay? And that's relevant in just a second. So the biggest change you'll notice is on the side here. You'll notice that you're able to, in comparison to the other one, Foxbeam has actually made it so that this front piece now sticks out. And if you recall in my prototype video, my complaint was the gap in the front was too large. So what it is now in the new bracket is you're actually able to move the fog light forward, and this new bracket allows you to do that by up to 6 millimeters. So when I test fitted it last time, the gap between the bumper and the fog light was about 11 to 10 millimeters. So this should close the gap to about 4 millimeters, give or take. And that's done on purpose to have a gap versus having a 1 millimeter gap or 2 millimeter gap, kind of like what the stock fog light does, is because in this one, with this bracket, you're going to be able to need to adjust the fog light up and down, whereas the stock fog light, if you see one, has a little knob on the bottom to adjust it. But since it's designed from factory, the adjustment on that is going to be a lot smaller. Since this bracket not only fits a Crosstrek, but it fits Forester Wilderness, Ascent, WRXs, and other Toyota models, Foxbeam needs to leave a little bit more gap so that you can adjust the fog light accordingly depending on what vehicle you're going to install it in. So that is the difference, the main difference between the new brackets. Other than that, there isn't much of a difference. We're going to now install the fog light, and I'll show you how that process works. So just that there's no confusion, from this point forward, you're not going to see the prototype brackets in this video anymore. It's going to be strictly just the production brackets, which if you were to buy them right on Foxbeam's website, that's what you're going to get. So these new brackets, as I mentioned before, have a little arrow on the front so you know which way's forward. On the SS3s, you're going to have these two little slots on the side, and these slots are where these little nuts go. So now these are Loctite nylon nuts, okay, that at least came in my kit, and you want to make sure that this nylon piece is on the inside of the fog light. So when you put it in, here's the nylon piece, you're going to want it on the inside like that. Okay, same with this side, you're going to want it on the inside. Okay, once they're in, you're going to take your bracket. Remember, with this ways forward, so it's going to go like this. On Diode Dynamic fog lights, on the front there's their logo. Just make sure that's upright. Okay, now I can already see the difference in between this and the prototype is I'm able to move this fog light a lot more forward now, which is going to be great. So with your SS3, you're also going to get screw and washer. So you're just gonna we're just gonna hand tighten these just to get everything in place. Now since I know Foxbeam and I have been communicating on these brackets a lot, I'm going to push these all the way forward before I tighten them. So you got to remember, this is the front of the vehicle, so I'm going to push my fog lights all the way forward. And for now, I'm just going to hand tighten these, and then I'm going to do the same to the other SS3. So this is what it's going to look like when you assemble it in, okay? Okay, so the last thing you want to do, and this is going to have to do with adjustability. I'm using a 5/32 hex bit here, okay? And you just want to make these as tight as you can, hand tight. I would not recommend using an electric screwdriver or drill or anything like that to tighten these, because number one, you don't want them overly tight. But second of all, once you have them in, there should be just enough give that you can adjust the fog lights up and down. Okay, and that's going to be vital for you to want to adjust and aim your fog lights without taking your bumper off. So let's move over to the bumper now, and we're going to mount them in. All right, so once you're at the bumper, these are just going to fit. So you'll notice that there is a small little cutout that's not a perfect circle in the bumper. You're going to use that cutout to get the fog light in, okay? So just angle the fog light in such a way that you can make use of that cutout, and they kind of just pop right in, okay? Now, before I put them in, you notice that there are two metal ones and a plastic mounting point. The two metal ones are going to be for the bolts, and then the plastic one is going to be for the plastic mount. So generally what I do is get the fog light in. There you go. And I put the plastic one in so I have something holding it in place. And then I just thread these first, and then I just get my socket wrench and get these in. All right, you only want these hand tight. You don't want to over tighten them. Again, do not use any type of power tools on these. You will tear that metal retaining clip out of the bumper. So just use hand tools. It's going to take you a tiny bit longer, but that's what it is. Okay. Last thing you need to remember is, so this is the end that goes into the fog light. For my car, this is an H11 end. Okay. So you're just going to plug the hole here, have that clip in so it's nice and tight. This end is going to go into your stock fog light input. So I'm going to go ahead and install the fog light on the other side, and then we're going to take a look at fitment. All right, so both fog lights are in, and let's take a look at the fitment. Right away, I can see a huge improvement. If you recall in the last video, I was able to stick my entire fingers in and grab my bumper. Now the gap is significantly smaller. It actually looks pretty good. There's maybe 1 or 2 millimeters more than the OEM fog, which is nice. So this is the driver's side. Let's take a look at the passenger side. Passenger side is the same. So there's a significantly smaller gap here. Honestly, I think they look perfect now. So let's hook the fog lights back up, put the bumper back, and then we'll take a look at the final product. Alright guys, so there it is. That's how you install your SS3s into your Crosstrek using those Y brackets, type Y brackets from Foxbeam Lighting. So I'm going to go to an underground garage now, and we're going to aim these lights. Alright guys, so we are now in an underground, well, at least a covered garage here. And we're talking about aiming the fog lights. So I've already made some adjustments, but I'm going to show you. Remember how earlier in the video I said to tighten the screws on the side of the SS3s only hand tight with a screwdriver and not to use power tools? Well, the reason for that is now you can use these areas here below and above the fog light to push them, to move them up or down. So Diode Dynamics actually has on their website a guide to how to aim their fog lights properly. And it's essentially you choose a wall and set yourself about 20 feet away from it, and then you can aim your fog lights using that guide. So the only thing about this is I've actually already done measurements and stuff like that, and basically for the wall that's here, these fog lights, the main beam pattern should just be on the just above where the road meets that concrete wall. So that's where the main beam should be. So what I've done is I've covered my low beams with some towels so I can have access to just the fog light, and then we can take it from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim one fog light at a time. So I'm going to start with the right fog light. Right now it looks pretty good. We're just going to go a little bit lower because we want that main beam just above where the pavement reaches, and I think that looks pretty good here. So let's switch the cloths and then we'll do the other side. So the main beam is now exactly where I want it, and I'm just going to take off the towels from the low beam so you can see what it looks like. So now you can see where my low beam is, and the fog light perfectly complements it. There's no light leakage above the low beam cutoff, but it does fill all the extra space around the low beam. So that's kind of what you want for the fog lights. So hopefully you found this video informative, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I have more content coming. Thanks for watching.